Hey everybody, Pierre here from Views in the Vault. I'm here to share with you another tutorial. We did a few tutorials of late. We did a storage tutorial that we're going to revisit again soon. That was well received. And then we did a hat curve tutorial, which a lot of folks appreciated. And after seeing a lot of comments in the community about hats that are a little bit tight and maybe some inconsistent sizing they've been seeing from New Era of late, I thought now was a great time to hit you all with a hat stretching video. Now I know there's been a lot of them out there. I get it. But for those that are new to our channel and some existing folks that may want a different spin on it, I felt like it was a good time to do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you what you need to do to get that perfect size. So a couple of things. First and foremost, if you're going from one size, like a 7 1/8 to a 7 1/4, that's going to work. If you're going to try to go from a 7 1/8 to a 7 3/8, you're going to do damage to the hat. You're most likely either going to bust up the brim, you're going to maybe tear a seam. Perhaps you're going to get it to that stretch, but then it's going to look really abnormal because the well of the hat is going to be so much shorter because you've stretched the circumference of it so far. So I think what's really important to remember is don't, buy your size. Now, this is really meant for someone who bought their size and it came in a little bit too tight. So this happened to me recently. So recently I bought a hat that I just loved when I saw it. It was this St. Louis Cardinals Serape undervisor from My Fitteds. Now, I love this hat, and I was so excited to get it. But when I went to put it on, it went on my head, but it was tight. You can see that this is a little bit too tight for me. This is a 7 1/4, but it fits more like a 7 1/8. This thing was killing me. So I'm like, all right, this is the perfect hat to kind of show everybody with and demonstrate this hat stretch with. So, where I get my hat jacks from are Hat Club. So Hat Club has a couple of different sizes. So this one actually would work for my hat as well. This is the small. So the small will use you can use with kid sizes up to a 7 1/4, which is what I am. But also the medium will work for a 7 1/4, I think up to a 7 3/8. And then once you get to a 7 1/2 or bigger, you have to buy the large. Now, between these two, I prefer the medium because the medium has a slightly bigger top to it, which allows it to get a good firm kind of placement on the front of the hat. So again, I can use either, but I prefer the medium. And the other thing that I need is a steamer. So you've seen me use this steamer. If you're a hat collector or a hat wearer, you need a steamer because it serves so many purposes. But in this case, what I'm going to do with a steamer is I'm basically going to steam every seam on this hat. Okay? I'm going to get it nice and warm, and there's going to be just enough humidity across those seams to keep it pliable. I'm also going to take the steamer and go right across here, because I think what ends up happening a lot of times is folks, when they're stretching their hat, they don't steam the brim, and it's not as pliable, and you'll get cracks in the brim or some weird distortions. So I always steam the brim. So let's go ahead and do that now. So I'm going to get the steamer going. I'm going to get all those seams really good. Really, yeah. And then I'm going to get right across, like I told you guys, I'm going to get right across the edge of that brim, just to make sure that's nice and soft. All right. So now I think I've steamed it quite enough, and this hat is polyester, so once I do this, it should stay pretty well because it shouldn't shrink down again. So I turn that steamer off. And then all I'm going to do is get the hat jack in there. Now, what's important about the hat jack is you got to get this nice and even both on the bottom and top of the hat. Okay, so it's in there. Now I'm just going to twist. Now this is where you're watching the hat, because if you're twisting this and you got to make sure it's staying nice and even, it's not slipping out because you don't want it to distort the hat. And I've got this thing stretched quite a good amount now. It didn't need much stretching. It needed just a little bit. So I got that in there. It's nice and tight in there. And as you can see it naturally does curve that brim a little bit while it's in that stretching process. But once it's done being stretched, it'll go right back to its form when you pull that out. That's really it. So I've got this nice and tight. What I'm going to do next is I'm just going to let this sit overnight. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to grab this hat. I'm going to take it out of the hat jack, and this thing's going to be ready to go. Now, if that doesn't work and you put it on your head, it's still got a little bit of tightness to it, I would recommend do it one more time. Sometimes it does take 2 goes at this to get the hat right. In this case, I've been doing this for so long, I know this one's going to be good after this one stretch, but I think it's always important to remember it may not be 100% right the first time you do it, and you may have to do it a second time. But again, just to recap, don't go up more than a size. Buy your size. Don't go and buy a 7 1/8 and try to get to a 7 3/8. That's not going to work. But if you do in fact get a 7 1/4, that's your size. It's not working well, and you got to stretch it. This is a good way to do it. So you'll salvage that hat rather than just kind of toss it to the side and waiting for the next drop. I hope this was helpful for everyone. Please like the video. It really helps the channel. If you're not already subscribed, please subscribe. We got a lot of great hat content in this channel, and I look forward to helping you guys with something again soon. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you all soon.